It is true that some members of the Congress have chosen to receive classified briefings about these programs, I among them. These briefings, though, often prohibit attendees from taking even notes or to even discuss such information with anyone else. And with all due respect to my friends in the administration, the mere fact that some members may have been briefed in a classified setting does not indicate our approval or support of these programs.
If you've gotten information from metadata, and you, as a result of that, think that, gee, this phone number, 873 whatever, looks suspicious, and we ought to actually get the contents of that phone, do you need a new specific warrant?
You need at least a national security letter. All you have is a telephone number. You do not have subscriber information, so you need the subscriber information. You would have to get probably a national security letter to get that subscriber information. And then if you wanted to do more,
if you wanted to listen to the phone,
then you have to get a particularized order from the FISA court directed at that particular phone of that particular individual.
Now, is the answer you just gave me classified?
Is what?
The answer you just gave me classified in any way?
I don't think so.
Okay, then I can say the following. We heard precisely the opposite at the briefing the other day. We heard precisely that you could get the specific information from that telephone simply based on an analyst deciding that, and you didn't need a new warrant. In other words, that what you just said is incorrect. So there's a conflict.
I'm not certain it's the same answer to the same question, but I'm sorry, I didn't mean to.
Well, I asked the question both times, and I think it's the same question.
So the question I'm raising is there a distinction between terrorism, the purposes for which information can be used in these programs for terrorism purposes? That's why the statutes were put in place. Is there a distinction between terrorism and national security?
I think terrorism as defined is a threat to national security in and of itself. A terrorist act is a threat to...
Does national security include, or does national security include some things outside terrorism?
Include the what?
Some things that are outside the category of terrorism.
Terrorism is a separate category, but you have cyber terrorists, you have individuals, and one of the concerns we have, quite obviously, in the future.
What about trade? Trade is a matter of national security, I take it.
Well, I can tell you I mean, one of the hypotheticals is a terrorist attack, cyber terrorist attack on Wall Street. That is trade. To the extent that you disrupt.
That's trade.
Disrupt that. Then absolutely, that's a matter of national security.
I want to talk a little bit about geolocation, metadata, and specifically the Jones case, which is a Supreme Court ruling where they ruled 9-0 that a GPS device placed on a vehicle for an extended period of time was an unreasonable search. Geolocation is broadly defined as using a GPS device or triangulation so that you can tell the specific whereabouts of where a particular phone is. Could you help me define what metadata is? Because what we've seen in the news is that the metadata category is the simple telephone number, where they're calling, and how long they're calling. Can you help me define what else is in the so-called metadata category?
Well, in the case of emails, it would probably be header information. I think people would consider
what about specific
addressing information, but not the subject line, for instance. That would not be metadata. In terms of the telephone, it would be that which you articulated principally.
Would it include geolocation information?
That's a question I'd have to get back to you on. I had not thought about that.
We submitted in advance our questions that we were going to ask here today, in part so I could have a candid dialogue with you. We were very good at providing the questions that I was going to ask. With all due respect, sir, you're the director of the FBI. You've been there for 12 years. You had to have think post-Jones, what are the implications of the Jones case? What is geolocation and how does it apply?
Absolutely. I mean, we have been, after the Jones case, we have taken, and the Jones case can be applied to a number of ways that we utilize geolocation. In each of these different ways, we have taken the most conservative approach because you don't know what is going to be the progeny of Jones. On the particular question of whether or not geolocation is metadata off the top, well, I shouldn't do it off the top of my head. I have to make certain that I